Okay, so welcome to the webinar. This morning we are talking about ISO being more than just a badge. My name's Laura Neville. I'm going to take you through the bulk of the slides today. And we've also got Kim with us this morning as well, who is an expert in ISO and is going to keep me right and also share our expertise with us as well. Kim, do you want to say hello?
Hello. Yeah, fantastic. As I say, any of the more detailed questions, obviously, ISO is my bag. So as I say, I will ably assist Flora with that. Very good.
Fantastic, thank you, Kim. Great. Okay, so what we're looking at this morning, we're going to look at some of the basics. So what is an ISO? I know there's some people on here who are not hugely familiar with it. The business benefits of ISO and external advantages available. And we're going to look at some of the details as well. So the benefits of 9001, 14001, 27001, 45001. And then we've got time as well to take some questions and things, etc. as well. So please do make use of our session today and get the most out of it in the hour you can is the idea. Okay, so ISOs in a nutshell then. ISOs create structure, facilitate better decision making and bring your team together to drive improvement. When written by experts from around the world, ISOs have one goal, and that's to describe the best way of doing something. So it is about making sure that what you are doing is the best way of doing it. It's the most effective, it's the most efficient, it's the best it can be. So that is achieved through a set of principles. By following these principles, each management system will help you manage the interrelated parts of your business to achieve your objectives. And these objectives may include service quality, operational efficiency, or performance. So it's about that collective achievement of your objectives. The complexity of the system is dependent upon your organisation, and the startups may have similar objectives to larger organisations but less extensive documentation and controls. By following the repeatable steps defined by ISOs, your business will be better equipped to achieve its goals with commitment to a continuous style of self-evaluation, correction, and improvement. So it's about always moving forward, making sure that it's, you are the best it can be, and that, with evaluation changing as and when required and improving on a constant doing that constantly to make sure you are the best it can be. With a firm base in place, your businesses will be better equipped to grow, adapt and improve performance. Now, I'm pretty confident there's nobody on here that doesn't want to achieve that. So it's about, getting it right, and that's where obviously ISO helps you hugely to do that. It's very much about a journey, not a destination. It's about creating that structure to help you manage your business processes. They allow you to understand and evaluate your organisation's footprints, so things that need to be done, things that have been done, positive and negative trends, and current and historical learning and improvement. They can also bring your teams together to empower them. Now, as we know, with the best will in the world, you're dealing with human beings. You would love everybody to act and do and all the rest of it the same. They're not going to. So that's where this can help massively as well. And your team is your biggest asset in your business. You can't run your business without the team. So again, it's important to make sure that those people in your organisation are all working collaboratively, working towards the same aims and goals and objectives and all the rest of it. So it develops the managers and the people involved in implementing management systems. They highlight the importance of roles and responsibilities and staff interaction, which is obviously fundamental, and they enhance employee understanding of business processes and the importance of these across the business as well. So, and again, it's about, employee understanding is key. If people don't understand, then it doesn't work, it doesn't gel, it's not collaborative. And also it can create, I was talking just the other day about stress, which is a big thing, as we know, in organisations at the moment and in life in general. And, lack of understanding and not being clear about something can create that hugely in teams. So I think all these things are important right now, and they all join together, they all dovetail together, all of these things. So it's getting it right and making sure that the team are the best they can be and helping those people be the best they can be as well. And that's the way to have an engaged team, to have a successful team, to have people who are loyal, committed, you know, all the rest of it, all the things that everybody wants. Okay, so ISOs then, your popular ISOs, and it's about finding the right ISO for your business. Everybody, now we've got a variety of different businesses on here obviously today, and every business will have different you know, suitability and all the rest of it. So it's looking at the ISOs, deciding what's right for your business, the needs and the goals is obviously key in that. So the four most popular ones that you probably will have heard of are ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 27001, and ISO 45001. So we're going to talk a little bit about each of those. So 9001 probably is the one that most people, I would think, will have most definitely heard of. And that's designed to help businesses meet the needs of customers by creating a framework to ensure consistently high quality in goods or services. So it's making sure that, you know, that is of a high standard and consistently at that high standard. Your 14001 then is designed to help businesses reduce their environmental impact and showcase their commitment to the environment and sustainability. So again, this is certainly one, obviously, we're seeing a lot more of just now and in the last few while, and certainly going forward, it most definitely will be. 27001, there we go, is designed to help businesses establish the processes needed to keep their information assets secure and protect them from cyber threats. Now again, maybe one that we weren't as familiar with until the last few years, but certainly more and more familiar with that just now. And 45001 is designed to help businesses establish the processes to keep staff safe and healthy, to identify potential occupational health and safety risks, and ensure the workplace remains legally compliant. You know, it speaks for itself. But those are the most common ones that you're probably most likely to have heard of. Kim, would you say 9001 is the one that you see kind of across the board, or is that a real mix?
So that's a great question. I mean, again, I've worked in quality for decades now, and historically, that was typically the first standard that everyone went for, knew about, and really that was kind of eyes on the prize. I think increasingly now, 27001 is a massive seller. There was a new iteration of the standard for 2022, and that's created a real upsurge in interest. So I would say probably for my money, 927, again, 1445 are also really popular as well. So almost across the piece, there's a lot of interest in those products.
Brilliant, great, thank you. Okay, tools for business development then, getting to know your business. ISO obviously encourages you to really get to know your business and its inner workings. And that's from procurement, resourcing and planning to development delivery. So really from beginning to end, top to bottom, inside out. And I think that's the key thing is as well is that, you know, as business owners, and I'm a business owner myself, you a lot of the time you think you know your business and you've probably worked in it for a long time, and you know, but you maybe don't know all the ins and outs and absolute inner workings of it and what's going on and the details sometimes as well. So I think that's when it can become interesting, when you've got a focus on that, because again it can be tricky and time not quite ever find the right time to do things like that as well. So familiarity with your business process will highlight their weaknesses and areas of improvement, and that enables you to develop your business internal practices. So it's having that focus on it, making sure that you are looking at it in detail and highlight the areas where there is improvement and there's you know, training needs or whatever that improvement may actually be. Key areas in which this can make a difference include productivity and efficiency. Again, things that, you know, can always be improved on and again need constant review, don't they, to ensure that that is maintained. Customer satisfaction, absolutely key. You know, you can't buy that. You can only provide that, and make sure that it happens is the important thing. And resilience and adaptability. And if ever there's been a time for that, that's been in the last few years in a business. You know, we've all been pretty resilient and had to be very adaptable and very agile at very short notice as well, and creative, and thinking, okay, how are we going to make this work? You know, we didn't do a webinar until 2020. It was all face to face in a venue or whatever else, and we had to be pretty agile and pretty adaptable. And before you knew it, we were on a screen and making it work. So I think we've all done that, and you'll know ways that, and highlight ways, and I think it's good. I think it's good in a lot of ways. It's definitely been challenging, but that's the good part of it, that it will have highlighted areas that are really good. Maybe you've made some changes. You might have now moved to a hybrid role of working. You know, different practices will have come in there. And when you look back, I'm pretty sure you can probably highlight them. So it's good to realise how creative and adaptable we can be, and obviously resilient as well. And I think there's still a lot of that needed in business right now as well, because it's challenging and it's tough. Productivity and efficiency then. ISLs help your business to improve structure and focus by implementing a system of processes that control key aspects of your operations. So creating these processes enables you to identify areas that could be made more efficient, more sustainable, more secure, more productive, or cost effective. And depending obviously on which ISO you have implemented, you know, that there'll be different kind of variations of that. And that's because you will know who's responsible for what each stage of the process is, how well each stage of the process performs, and identifies opportunities for improvement. So, and we're always looking to, you know, evolve and change and improve and all the rest of it. So, you know, that's where the productivity and efficiency element is. The system of processes also means everyone within your business has procedures to follow and has their roles and responsibilities clearly mapped out. Now, I'm sure you do already have that. It's whether or not that happens sometimes is the key thing. It enables your team to work as a whole and removes possible duplication for greater efficiency. And I think that's a lot of it, isn't it? Sometimes there is a lot of overlap, and you know, and it's looking at that and thinking, okay, let's be clear about what everybody's role is, what everybody's doing, and historically as well. And people get, you know, changes happen and different people in different roles and all the rest of it. So again, good to look at that. It also creates repeatability. So that means that your business has set process that it can follow to get it right first time, every time. And that's the absolute key thing. Repeatability reduces the risk of errors. You're maintaining high levels of service and production for lower costs and greater efficiency. So, and we're all looking to see how we can lower costs right now in businesses and make sure that, you know, that again, it's got to be sustainable, and making sure that, you know, we can continue that as well. So you can see there in the little on the picture on the right hand side, repeatability means fewer errors, lower costs, getting it right first time, and efficiency, which is the absolute key thing. Productivity and efficiency as well is your ISOs also establish how well each process performs using monitoring and evaluation tools. So it's all well and good saying, right, we've created this, we're going to do it this way, whatever else, but you know, it's the monitoring of that to ensure that that continues, to make sure it's right as well. Is it needing to be, as you're evaluating, you're monitoring, are things, you know, maybe needing to be changed? And this close monitoring of processes from end to end means that you can spot when there are slip ups, something, you know, that's not quite right. That's known as a non-conformities, and you can identify those more easily. Non-conformities are things that deviate from expectation, such as a missed delivery deadline or poor customer feedback, or maybe a faulty service, something that's gone wrong. By spotting a non-conformity, your business can deal with it quickly, implementing corrective action. So it's not something that's, you know, missed and further down the line, and by which point it's too late. It's being able to act on that, recognising it and acting on it quickly. And that can stop your customers from receiving a lower quality product or service, or prevent a dip in your business performance or reputation, which everybody obviously wants to avoid. So you can see here in the Demon cycle, so act, standardize the best solution, plan, identify problem and root cause, do, devise solution and implementation, and your check is evaluate effectiveness. And all of these, you know, obviously need to be in the cycle to make that work is the key thing. And consistently again, and making sure that happens is the key thing here. ISO also encourages you to find a permanent solution to any non-conformities, so that you're not, you know, repeating, you know, talking about repeating, you're not doing the same thing over and over again, and you're not getting the same non-conformities coming up over and over again. So it's finding the solution to that and implementing that in so that you avoid it. Solutions are based on a factual investigation backed up by evidence and clear documentation, and that then creates problem solving and improvement culture within your business, which is always what you want. You want to have, obviously, and you know, I'm sure if we spoke to each of you individually, it's about having that problem solving culture. It's about having that positive culture of problem solving and therefore improving on the back of that as well. Internal audits and management reviews are key parts of your ISO, and they contribute towards that culture as well. And creating that culture you know, is important, and maintaining that culture is the key thing. You know, it's having a culture, and that is maintaining that is absolutely, and can also sometimes be the tricky part of it, is the maintaining of it. So it's getting that right. We talked there about audits and reviews. So internal audits is a scheduled check of the processes in a management system. It checks that they're being followed correctly, they're being fully implemented, and are being effectively maintained. So as I said, you know, it's the maintaining of things, because with the best will in the world, you can train people, you can do whatever, but you are dealing with human beings. People get a wee bit complacent. Sometimes they think they know how to do things better or differently, or a shortcut, or whatever it may be. So it's making sure that, you know, you are making sure that things that are properly implemented, and then they are being continued and consistently, you know, the consistency there as well. Management review is a structured meeting held at least once a year that reviews and evaluates your management system. It checks that it still meets your business needs and keeps senior management up to date. So again, it's, you know, your business changes, your customers change, the environment changes, whatever else, there will be changes. So you need to make sure that the system that you've got in place works well with that, and isn't, you know, and that your business needs are still being met and everything as well. So, and keeping senior management up to date is obviously key, because again, like I said from the start, you need to know front to back, inside out, what is happening, and ensure that that is consistent along the way. Cost saving. That everybody likes. ISO needs accurate reporting and documentation to keep track of your business processes. So accurate record keeping can help you identify areas for cost saving by having full knowledge of the resources that you have. So what do you use? What do you waste? Because quite often, and I think that's, you know, a lot of people will know what they use, but do we actually know what we waste? How often do we look and actually evaluate what waste? Have you ever identified or evaluated what you waste? And again, depends on the business you're in, but it can be everything from, you know, the paper that's printed that's not needed, right across the board, to all sorts of different waste. So you know, looking at that alone, I think, is really important. What things are worth. So again, not just the cost of it, but what is something is actually worth, and worth to your business. And again, these obviously, the use, the waste, and the worth all tie in together, and the efficiency of each process, because it could be that actually once you start looking in detail at a process, you realise that you're maybe producing waste that is unnecessary, or can be avoided by making some changes to a process, or, you know, whatever else. So looking at that actual efficiency, and the key thing about this is looking at all this in detail is important, and, you know, can really be a real eye opener. And I've heard lots of people saying that, you know, looking at things in detail is the eye opener. And actually, I thought I knew my business really well, but I had no idea we were wasting this, or actually this was going on, or whatever else. Do you find that often, Kim? That
I think absolutely. And the scenario, so the example that we give here is around sort of physical stuff, which again is quite easy to measure perhaps. But when we think about rework and human resource and the cost of maybe doing something again because it wasn't quite right the first time or it didn't meet the client's requirements or specification or whatever, I think to a lot of businesses that could be quite eye-opening and maybe quite frightening as well. So yeah, as I say, it's, you know, it would be a rare business indeed that never wasted a moment's resource or a piece of raw material. Absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Kim. And it is, like she's saying, like Kim just said there, you know, do you produce scrap material? How much? What do you do with it? Is it worth any money? Have you got a big collection of it somewhere out the back? You know, could it be reduced? Can it be reused? Can it be repurposed? Can, you know, and all those kind of things that I'm sure everybody on here can identify with. As I say, I'm in hospitality. I've got a hospitality business. And I can think of stuff absolutely that yeah, is definitely collecting somewhere that actually is a waste, and you know, how can you change that, how can you do it? So, and it's interesting when you start looking at things like this in detail. Using up-to-date records to answer these questions can reveal areas in which you could save money, earn money for recycling, or be more environmentally conscious. And I think all of those boxes are important in every business right now. So saving money, recycling, reusing, and being environmentally conscious is key. Customer satisfaction then. Everybody wants to have satisfied, happy, repeat customers who will, you know, shout your name and recommend you from the rooftop. And, you know, reputation, you cannot buy reputation, and customer satisfaction feeds directly into reputation, as does internal customer satisfaction, so of your team. But customer satisfaction on every level is key. So greater efficiency, problem solving and monitoring will help you deliver a consistent quality of service that meets your customer needs. And that's what you want, is to continuously you know, meet people's needs, expectations, and exceed those as well. And you can't do that if you don't have the right process there to ensure that it's consistency, there's quality, you know, the delivery is right. And whether that's a physical delivery, whether it's, you know, tangible or not, all delivery to the customer, however that may be, it's got to be right. And your ISOs encourage you to monitor your processes, outputs, and your customer feedback. How often do you get customer feedback? That's always a key one, I think. You know, how often do you ask for it? How often do you receive it? And if you do, what do you do with it? Do you do anything with it, or do you just think, oh, that's nice, thanks very much, and we'll move on? You know, you need clear structured processes and reviews that show how each step in the process contributes towards the end result. It highlights as well any inefficiencies, any issues, any potential problems in that process as well. So you're looking at each step in the process to make sure it's right, so that the end result again is always on time and efficient as well. Helps you understand your customers' needs and organise your business so that you can meet their specific requirements and more easily recognise opportunities for future improvement as well. And as we know, there's always, you know, room for improvement. We're always looking to make improvements. So again, it's just about recognising those as well. Somebody saying there, ISO 9001 has helped us deliver our services by listening more to clients and their needs. And absolutely, again, you know, I think you often think you know what, you know, how you deliver a service and all the rest of it, but actually listening and understanding the specific needs of clients sometimes can really change that. And actually a client says, you know, and I've had it in the past where a client says, if you could do it this way, it'd be really, really helpful. Actually, yeah, that's a really easy fix and works for everybody, but we maybe just hadn't thought of it, you know. So again, that's you know, the way to go. So you can see there on the right hand side, define your target market, understand your customer needs, align your processes to those customer needs, engage your team through leadership, measure results, and implement key improvements. And it's a circle, and it's a constant, you know, evaluation and you know, making sure that you're on top of these, you're looking at it, you're identifying, and again, you're then moving, round that circle is the key thing. You know, that you're constantly keeping the circle or the wheel going is the key thing. Amanda, see there, you're saying you're going to say it's not just only monetary, it's energy efficiency as well. Absolutely, and that's absolutely key right now. Is for in all, you know, cost saving, and also you know, from an environmental point of view, lots of, you know, lots of ways that the energy efficiency is important just now as well, definitely. And customers are interested in that too. And I think that's the key thing is, you know, I think more so now than ever, customers are becoming more conscious of what they use and who provides the, you know, what they use. And so that's a real conscious one as well. And we've seen that coming up because we, you know, deal a lot with tendering and things like that as well, which our ISO comes into hugely now that it hasn't maybe in the past. But again, that, you know, that it's, people are very, very conscious. And whether that's a you know, a business to business consumer or a commercial consumer or whoever else, but they are very conscious of you know, efficiency and energy and environmental and things like that, more so than they've ever been before, for sure. Resilience and adaptability. So ISO standards encourage businesses to adopt a risk-based approach. Identifying, analysing, mitigating risks to businesses are key components of a robust management system. It makes your business more proactive and preventative action automatic. So it also identifies opportunities for improvement. We're all familiar with the SWOT analysis. We were even doing them when I was at school, and that was a number of years ago. So, you know, it's nothing new. But again, how often do you do it? How often do you look at it? And what do you do with that is the key thing. And that's the important thing here. You know, it's looking at that and being very honest about it as well, and getting your customer input in that, and aligning all that together. And that, when I say customer, I mean your external customer, your internal customer, your employees, all the rest of it. So all of that needs to align together to make that work. Amanda, I see you've just put another comment in there. So we've recently changed our service contract to fit in line with our corporate social responsibility, as well as saving us some money. Absolutely, and that's absolutely key just now. It most definitely is that, you know, as I say, people are more conscious than they've ever been for a number of reasons. And yeah, I hear that a lot. So and those are things that are definitely going to, you know, going forward, going to continue to be something that's looked at. So yeah, SWOT analysis. You know, we're all familiar with it, and it is about that resilience and adaptability. That is key, and it is about being proactive and not just reactive, because quite often that reactive is just too late. You know, and you need to be absolutely proactive. External benefits, as I said, tendering. Again, I don't know if everybody on here does much tendering or have ever thought about it or whatever else, but tendering's a huge thing. And again, much more so than it's ever been. A lot of businesses are working in that manner and looking for tenders. You know, you need to maybe go out and look for business now that you've maybe not had to do in the past, because industry is changing. And in some industries it's always been the case that you've tendered for work or whatever else. But industries where it hasn't been so so popular before, certainly we are now seeing people coming to us saying, okay, I'm going to have to start tendering, and I'm not just quite sure where I start with this, because it, you know, again, there is a very, very definite process and way to do it successfully, because tendering is something you could spend a lot of time on and not actually get anywhere with it. And you know, it can be difficult, and it is time consuming. So it's about getting it right. And again, that's where the ISO comes in, and more so now than ever, an ISO is an expectation in a lot of tenders. You know, if you don't have a particular ISO, I know in some tendering scenarios, then you're not even considered. So it is important that Kim, would you agree with that we're seeing a lot more of that now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think there's a couple of things going on. So it's almost like the bar is, I don't have the ISO, therefore I can't tender for this, therefore I'm not even going to be considered. but it can also be a differentiator. So in other words, the competition does not have this ISO, but I do. Therefore, I can talk about this in terms of the way that, you know, my business is going to meet your needs more efficiently, or even, and we just spoke there briefly about CSR, you know, this is how my business can help your business, if you're a client, meet its CSR, ESG requirements. So as I say, it's both getting your foot in the door and also differentiating yourself from the competition. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant, thanks. It can, like Kim just said there, you know, give you that competitive edge. Is the, you know, it just puts you potentially above the rest. An ISO certificate can help you to pre-qualify for tenders because they provide evidence that you meet that international standard of best practice. You've had that verified because you have your ISO. So, and again, that's exactly it. You know, it's saying, okay, I know that business has got X, Y, and Z in place, and this is the way they operate if they've got that. So it helps to demonstrate that your business has what it takes to deal with the larger and more complex new business opportunities. Thanks to the plan, do, check, act approach. So again, you know, it's about that standardised. Well, I know that business works in that manner, as do we, or that's what the requirements are, or that meets my criteria, or whatever it might be. So it's given, you know, it's having that backup of knowing that from the you know, the project point of view as well. It's knowing that the businesses that are involved then have a certain standard, and it's, you know, it's pre-qualified, and we know they are at that high level. Questions in a tender may also become easier to answer because you have the right documentation and evidence at your fingertips. Absolutely. When you're talking maybe method statements, particularly your health and safety stuff and all these other things as well, you know, that's just a small element of it. But there's a huge amount of benefits, and again, so that people know, or the businesses know, that you've got in place what they need you to have. Market your success. An ISO is an instantly recognisable badge as best practice. It has, you know, huge importance in a lot. Again, you know, just what Kim was saying there, that it is about saying, I've got this standard, and you know, I meet these standards. Using your certification marks in your market can absolutely attract new customers. It's, you know, it's that accolade, saying, well, I know that, you know, and it's not the simplest process to go through, so people understand that, you know, it's a real commitment, and you've made a lot of commitment and gone through a lot of process to get that, and therefore it builds your reputation as a company and gives new and existing clients confidence in what you do. You can't buy reputation, and it's, again, maintaining reputation is key. You've probably spent many years, hours, blood, sweat and tears building your reputation. As we know, it can change pretty quickly if things go wrong. So it's about putting things in place to build and maintain that reputation as a good organisation. Yeah, and whether that's on a, you know, on a social level, as an employer, as a company to work with, you know, there's lots of different ways that, you know, your reputation as a business will benefit from having your ISO in place. Quote there is, because of the work we do, working for councils, the police, and dealing with building and construction, ISOs help to build trust between us and our customers. Absolutely. And again, you know, lots, as I said, lots of organisations are looking to, so if you don't have the ISOs in place, you're just not in the running, you're not in the picking. So it's key from that point of view. Kim, do you want to, and I know there's a question come in there that you have answered, but do you want to answer it live so that everybody can hear it? I always think there's a benefit.
Yeah, no problems at all. So that was a good question there, just around UCAS and whether indeed ISOs need to be, should be, can be certificated around UCAS accredited bodies. I mean, again, it depends very much on the industry. So for anyone who's in any doubt, Citation ISO, we are basically verified by ASCB, which is non-UCAS effectively. There are industries out there that really do require UCAS, but they're very few and far between. So things like nuclear industry, civil aviation, quite a lot associated with transportation, mass transportation, MOD, anything related to the Ministry of Defence. Out with that, you have a lot more freedom in terms of picking a certification body. So the standards themselves, the underlying standards, 9, 14, 45, 27, they are entirely the same whether you go down the UCAS or the non-UCAS route. So really almost focus on the standard you want first, and then maybe you can go shopping and have a look at different certification bodies and consider the costs and benefits that they offer. So I suppose critically, the difference between the UCAS and the non-UCAS side of life is UCAS certification bodies only audit. They cannot offer advice, consultancy, anything else. They're purely an audit type arrangement. Whereas with non-UCAS, so for an organisation like Citation ISO, obviously we offer consultancy. So as in we can come in, write a management system for you, and then audit it over a number of years, the amount of time that you want to spend with us. So that's really the critical difference. If you want audit only, you're probably going to go down the UCAS route. If you want more of a collaborative, hand-holding, supportive guiding, training, mentoring, then you're probably going to go down the non-UCAS route. But the standards themselves, and I can't stress this enough, the standards themselves are exactly the same. So I hope that answers the question. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Brilliant. Sorry, the slides seem to be jumping on themselves today as well, which is always handy. Okay, so ISO 9001, I touched on earlier. It's a quality management standard. It's designed to help your businesses put customer satisfaction first, giving you the following benefits. From an internal perspective, increased efficiency, faster identification and resolution of issues, improved employee morale, a right first time attitude, and continual improvement. So, you know, I mean, that in itself, you can see there's a huge benefit to that. And each of these individually, I think, I'm sure you can all identify with, you know, faster identification and resolution of issues and a right first time attitude. I think those things in themselves, you can see the efficiency and cost saving in a lot of ways about that. And obviously your continual improvement, because a lot of the time it's just, you know, it's achieving, getting through the day, meeting, you know, orders or whatever else it might be. And that continual improvement doesn't always happen. So, you know, from an internal point of view, that's big. External, improved relationship with suppliers and customers, higher customer satisfaction, which I'm sure there's nobody on here that's not striving to achieve, and proof to prospective new businesses you provide consistent, reliable and fit for purpose products and services. Again, ties back into that whole reputation, you know, you can't buy it, word of mouth, advertisement is the best by far. There is no price on that. You know, that in itself is a huge thing. So your ISO 9001 is your quality management. Your ISO 14001, your business can work towards reducing its environmental impact, boosting its green credentials and managing waste more effectively. And some of the other benefits there on that one. So internally, we're talking cost savings. Oh, sorry, that's jumping ahead. Thanks to better resource, waste and energy management. Improved efficiency, creates a framework to demonstrate legislative compliance and continual improvement. So again, you're going to see efficiency and improvement in all these, but again, things like framework to demonstrate legislative compliance. It's not negotiable. You need to be compliant, I'm afraid. You know, and they're working everybody towards all of that as well. So again, it's ensuring that you are compliant, which again, we all want to be. Externally, boosted reputation and confidence in what you do and how you do it. Proof that you have a forward-thinking, environmentally aware business, and demonstrate commitment to environmental performance. Again, your environmental management, Kim, you mentioned this earlier on, that it certainly is one that we are seeing more and more and more, and I think, you know, that's only going to continue on the upward trend with that. And I know you've mentioned it in here as well. that you know, Amanda, that you're working in that direction as well, so we can see that. ISO 27001 puts information security at the heart of your business, creating a culture of security that provides reassurance to customers and stakeholders. Your other benefits then of your information security management are: internal creates a framework to demonstrate legislative and regulatory compliance, culture of security within the business, robust risk management, and continual improvement. Again, you know, so often, unfortunately, we've heard where things have gone wrong and security has been breached in a number of very, very large organisations, as we know, and we always hear about them. But you know, you can't afford to have that, because again, all comes right back to reputation, and that kind of thing goes wrong, then it does take a long time to come back from some of that. I'm pretty confident if I started talking to you now about businesses that had breaches probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, you're going to remember it, and you remember why, and you know, it's not always for a good reason. So again, these things are, you know, it's key to have that framework there, make sure that, you know, you are compliant, you've got the right things in place, and to avoid because again, you know, it's something that's huge just now, and is not going anywhere, and again, we're going to see the upward trend on that. Externally, customer confidence in the security of information, increased trust between you and the customer. Absolutely. And again, something that people are really looking for now. If we'd been having this conversation 10 years ago, I don't think that's something that was massively on people's radar, but most certainly it is now, most certainly. And we talk about it all the time. And I'm pretty confident on here, you will have customers approach you to talk about it and ask about it and be clear about it. And again, if you're working with any other organisations, then it's absolutely, absolutely key. Anything you want to add on that one, Kim, as well?
I mean, I think you've probably given a really good overview, to be honest. I mean, 27 as a standard, I think the uptake has been, you know, really massively increased. I would say probably over the last 5 to 10 years, but I think almost where it was perhaps considered a bit more of a rare specialism that IT companies would go for, or wealth managers, banks, organizations which were maybe doing a lot of sort of transactions on a daily basis using electronic systems, maybe more at the sort of cutting edge of technology. I just think everybody buys this now. So yeah, it's clearly not going anywhere. And as I say, with the new iteration of the standard, it's become, I suppose, much more relevant to everyone. So in terms of the cybersecurity piece, obviously the fact now that it talks in a little bit more depth about the cloud, which was always implied but not explicit before. So I just think it's relevant to everyone. I really do.
Yeah, that's it. And because I think we're using so much more cloud storage and backup and all that kind of thing as well, then, you know, it brings all that kind of stuff into it all the time, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And I suppose as well, having this conversation in the, I don't really want to say post-pandemic world, but I think everyone knows what I mean. After the aftermath of the extreme phase of the pandemic, I think e-communications are just so much more relevant to all of us, whatever the size of our business now. It got us through, but now we need to make sure that it's a tool for good.
Definitely. Thanks, Kim. 45,001 then, you can show your employees and clients that you put health and safety first, reducing risks and protecting your staff. There are other benefits. Obviously, your internal, again, creates a framework to demonstrate legislative and regulatory compliance, culture of health and safety within the business, robust risk management, and continual improvement. Your external is your customer confidence and your commitment to health and safety, and increased trust between you and the customer. Again, I mean, this one is, you know, health and safety, as we know, is non-negotiable, and you need to make sure you absolutely get it right, which I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you know is, but it's certainly worth, you know, looking at it. We know health and safety, it's black and white, and you know, risk reduction is a huge thing. It's also the focus of the health and safety exec this year are certain specifics within that. So we know asbestos is one of them, and dust, and you know, their specifics from the health and safety exec, but also so is stress and well-being, and they have absolutely made that clear in their focuses for this year and next year. So you know, it's not just about your typical safety stuff, it's health very much now as well. You know, it's always been health and safety, but I think a lot of the time people associate it with safety more than they do health. Health is now a massive focus, and again highlighted very much during the pandemic, but you know, stress, well-being, mental health, all those kind of things now are so key in every business. So again, I think a lot of this was always very much, you know, associated with high risk organizations like your construction and manufacturing and maybe something like that. But as a business, across every business, and every business as a whole has now too, because you have responsibility for health, safety and welfare of everyone associated with your organisation. So, you know, I'm sure you know that responsibility is on your shoulders, but it is very much a focus now across the board, which again, I think just highlights the importance of your 45,001 more so than ever. You know, it's about protecting your staff, and staff protection is most definitely in there now than it ever has been. Yeah. Great, okay. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview as to what an ISO is, how it works, what the benefits are, and you know, giving you some food for thought about it as well. I think is the key thing, because we've all heard of ISOs. I don't doubt for a minute you've maybe got some, and maybe you're on here just think, is it something I should be looking at? Is it something I should be doing? Whatever it is. But hopefully we've covered a lot of that. Please do add some questions. I see there's a couple of questions coming in there, so that's brilliant. Ask those questions. We've got time just now to do some questions, and what we want is from you to really be able to go away from this and have a clear understanding and see where that fits in your business and how you are then going to be able to move that forward. So first question there I can see is coming from Sharon. So does this cross over with 9001? I'm assuming you were meaning 45,001 there, Sharon. So Kim, how does that cross over?
Yeah, great question. That was what I assumed Sharon meant as well. So, I mean, there's absolutely crossover between, I guess, all the primary standards in terms of the way they consider certain areas of your operations. They just have different focuses. So as Flora was saying, 9001, the predominant focus is operational. With 45,001, the predominant focus is safety. So if you imagine you're almost taking a set of processes, but for example, within 9001, that will focus a little bit more on the production or the service provision side. Whereas if you're looking at the same business, but you're considering it for 45,001, then it will have very much a take around, so what are the controls on the process from a safety point of view? So that's kind of how they mesh together. I don't want to give too technical an answer, which would be something like they both conform to Annex SL, which is like a standard running order of things that we consider in each standard. But what that means is that effectively now we can overlay standards and produce integrated systems. And this again has been a really big driver within Citation ISO in the last year. So you can basically purchase integrated management systems, IMSs, which have been written to maximize the benefit of that overlay. So I hope that that answers the question. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Flora, do you want me to go straight into the next question? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Right.
Keep rolling.
Fantastic. Okay. So Lauren is asking, during the audit process, is the company informed beforehand and what is expected to be evidenced? Really great question. So when you are basically in the system with us, effectively, if you are a Citation ISO client, you'll have come to us either through the compliance route, which is you wrote your own system and then basically we audit it, or the consultancy route, whereupon we write a system based on what you tell us about your operations, and then we say, here's a management system, we will now audit you on it every year for as long as you wish to have the contract with us. So clearly, audits that we're going to perform on you, so third-party audits, effectively we notify you well ahead of time when the audit is going to take place. We have audit plan documentation, so that very much describes what it is that we are likely to want to look at. So we provide that, again, obviously well ahead of time so that you can get your ducks in a row and I suppose really just get the most out of the audit process, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers the question there for Lauren. Next question from Lewis. How do we start the ball rolling with gaining these ISOs? So that is a conversation really with Citation ISO or Citation Group sales team. And again, we'll have conversations to understand that your requirements and then find the appropriate products for you, because that could be integrated systems, it could be standalone systems. We offer products like there's a sort of mentoring product, if you like, which is ISO Mentor. So it's a kind of combo of online training and support as well, which really is going to make you highly effective running the management systems once you have them in place. Hopefully that's not given Lewis, or hopefully that's given Lewis enough food for thought there. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. From Kevin, why are the ISO standard audit books so expensive? So I'm just wondering if Kevin means ISO standards themselves, which are purchased from a range of providers. We don't sell them, but there's lots of providers out there that do. Or audit books. I don't know if you're referring to textbooks. Maybe you've come across some textbooks, which can be quite pricey. I would agree there. I mean, if you're asking the question about the ISO standards, they are typically in the order of a few £100s. I think that's quite expensive too. As I say, we pay those prices for them. So yep, I would agree there, Kevin. Okay, fantastic. From Charlotte, is there a one-to-one training course on ISO 9001? I'm really new to it and struggle. So there absolutely is. As I say, we sell a range of products which are which can help you to basically get up to speed in terms of running the management system. So we still offer internal audit training. ISO Mentor is another product which can be incredibly good value, again, if you want more training and support on an ongoing basis. But again, Charlotte, we can provide more details and more information on that. Where I think ISO Mentor maybe particularly comes into its own is where there's a number of people in the organisation who are all looking for training. It can be a really good value product. Again, continually adding new training modules to that product. So I think it's probably one which will be on everybody's radar going forward. Okay, fantastic. Hope that answers Charlotte. And then Samuel, so we're saying, how long does the process for 14001 take and what are the costings? We have been strongly recommended to apply from our last citation audit. Okay, fantastic. So I think the question there from Samuel is how long does it take to get from expression of interest in 14001 to certification effectively? I mean, I would say Citation ISO prides itself on acting incredibly swiftly around your needs. We will typically get your initial consultancy booked in within a matter of weeks. Again, you'll be able to work with our teams and we'll talk about what an appropriate date to kind of start the process is. Effectively, what happens is we have the first meeting, we then set up the certification audit, which is the point at which you prove some minimum criteria to us. And at that point, you're basically offered a probationary certificate where you can say, look, I'm a 14001 company. That process typically is fairly short, but it is absolutely driven by you. So organizations that have got a real sort of time sensitivity around getting the certificate tend to put a little bit more foot on the gas, shall we say, and will typically get there. I mean, I'm going to say within 2 months, 3 months, but again, it is very much driven by you. What are the costings? Again, depends on size of your organization, complexity, I suppose whether or not maybe you buy an IMS, which includes 14,001, or you may just want to go for the 14,001 alone, number of sites. So there's quite a few variables there, but again, our sales team can absolutely give advice on how much that would cost to get that up and running. Again, 14,001 it's a great product. I think, again, maybe back in the day, by which I mean sort of 10, 15 years ago, it was a bit more of an unusual finding. I think these days the uptake is massive. Everybody wants it, everybody loves it. Okay, fantastic. Hopefully that's enough for Samuel. And from Amanda, is there somewhere we can find a simple guide as to the structuring of the ISO process? For example, how often we do internal audits, when to conduct management review meetings. Amanda, there is. So effectively within our online system, which is Atlas ISO, there's a plethora of, I'm going to say, training resources, so different types of materials. Some of them are videos, some of them are more kind of just process flows. You can also talk to a person as well. As I say, you can absolutely phone us up for guidance on those. But if indeed you were thinking about something like, okay, so I'm going to start doing my internal audits, what should they look like? Who should do them? How do I plan them? How often should they be? Then we have resources online which are going to help you get through that. Again, I hope that that answers the question. The initial kind of dashboard, if you like, for Atlas ISO, I think it's quite intuitive, and there's lots of buttons which are need help. They're all contextual. So again, it should be fairly easy using that, or using the search function to find what you need. But again, if you're struggling, we can provide support to help you guide your way through it. Okay, fantastic. Let's see what else we've got here, if any. There we go. Do we log everything on Citation Atlas for ISO? And does the auditor have access to the portal? Okay, fantastic. That's a question from Sharon. So the answer to the first part of your question is you absolutely can if you like. So Atlas ISO can be a one-stop shop. Everything lives there. That's what we have instead of another document repository. However, when Citation ISO comes to audit you, if you say, no, I keep the information on SharePoint or OneDrive or the boss's laptop, then that's fine too. So you don't have to use it for everything, but you may choose to do so, and it's designed to allow you to do that if you want. And question, does the auditor have access to the portal? So the auditor has access to elements of what you have uploaded. So the classic one, for example, all the original processes, for example, which Citation ISO wrote for you, we can absolutely see those. We can see evidence that you have uploaded in respect of, for example, non-conformances. It very much depends where you put it, in what folder, in which section of Atlas ISO it lives. But typically, you get to choose what we see, if that makes sense, if that's a sort of reasonable answer. But that's a great question as well. Somebody who's obviously already using the portal, great. Lauren says, perfect answer to the question, fantastic. Clive is saying, would this presentation be of help in fulfilling ISO 9001 awareness requirements for colleagues? I mean, it absolutely could. I think there's really good coverage of really all the four main sort of standards here. There will be additional resources on Atlas ISO which you might also choose to use. So I would encourage you again just to go on to the need help and maybe have a little bit of a kind of toggle around. If you searched on terms like awareness, you would come up with something. I mean, interestingly, there's a lot around awareness type training within the kind of wider Atlas suite. So again, for people who are full sort of health and safety employment law clients, again, there will already be lots of presentations and things which are maybe a little bit more in depth on each individual standard. If you chose to look for those are really great as well. Kevin is saying, oh, the actual standards you were asking about, yes, I would agree that they are quite pricey. We're obviously in the wrong business there. Yeah, absolutely. For ISO Mentor, have to pay fee. So there is an additional charge for that product, but again, it's a conversation to be had perhaps with our sales department. Again, depends perhaps whether you're an existing client, if you're looking to buy a bundle. So I'm probably going to just park that issue if I may. But yes, as I say, it is at an additional cost, but it's a great value product. Rebecca is saying, do we use your platform to monitor and file information? So that's a bit of a repeat question from above, where Sharon was asking about, must we use the portal to log everything? You absolutely don't have to, but you totally can. And I think this is, you know, hopefully what you see as a strength of our offering, because, you know, for a small business that hasn't spent a lot of money setting up SharePoint or Teams or whatever, this could be it. That could be where everything lives. You've got a few users that sign on that use this system a lot, and that's where your kind of single source of truth is. But equally, if you've already got something else that you're really satisfied with and you want to use that instead, then that is absolutely okay too. Fantastic. Rebecca says, more so the progress and keeping track rather than the end results. I mean, yes, absolutely. Kind of the same answer. So in terms of moving toward a goal, so I don't know, supposing you had used something like the objectives tracker on Atlas ISO, you can absolutely go into it and almost just mark your own work a little bit and say, okay, so our progress is we're maybe, you know, 25% of the way there. We have made some progress. The owner, the action owner has changed because we've had a change of personnel inside, or we've changed the proposed closeout date of this objective because the original date no longer suits the business. So you can absolutely use it, I suppose, to chart your progress. But again, you don't have to, but you can. I'm using quite a straightforward example there, just the objectives tracker. But again, this would work for things like risk registers, or I mean, really anything that you've got on the portal. So yeah, or indeed anything of your own sort of iteration that you've uploaded onto the portal. Yeah, totally. Right, fantastic. Rebecca is happy with that answer. Great. I don't think there's any more questions appearing.
Nope,
there we go.
See any at the moment. We will hang around for a few more minutes, so if MD does have any additional questions, that is not a problem at all. But if you do want to, I know we've had loads of great discussion there, and thanks, Kim. It's brilliant to have you with us to talk in more depth and detail about it all. But if you do want to talk a wee bit more about it, or find out more about it, or find out about how it could work for you and the process and the costings and all that kind of thing, then let me know. Pop in the chat function there. I know a couple of you have identified that you would like somebody to speak to you in more detail about it, so please do just put it in the chat, and I'll make sure that somebody does give you a buzz and just has a chat with you to follow up, to give you any information that you need regarding the process, the costings, what it is you need or want, or think you might need or want to chat in a wee bit more detail about. So please do put that in there, is the key. And brilliant, thanks guys. What's the best email to come through on, Kim? Is it, would you say?
So for me or you, or what's your sort of
if
thought?
Somebody wants a follow-up, or even actually what to do is put your emails in the chat box, and I'll make sure that we pick that up and somebody contacts you directly. How about that? That's probably the easiest way to do it.
I think that's preferred. Yes, please.
Yeah, let's do that, and we will follow up with you. Yep, absolutely perfect. Great, thanks guys. We will make sure that somebody gives you a buzz in the next day or so, and just has a wee bit more chat with you about what your needs are, because then we know everybody's different. Everybody on here is running a different business, so your needs are all different. So I think that's the best way to do it. So if you pop in your email address, we can just make sure we've got the one that's coming specific to you, because we may have some more generic ones for your organization or something. So if you just pop in your specific emails there, we'll make sure that we come direct to yourself, and we can pick up up with you is the best way to do that. Great. I'm glad it's been helpful. We've had some good questions there. Thank you so much, Kim, for joining us. It's been fantastic to have you, and hopefully you'll join us again.
I would love to. No, that's been fantastic. Thank you very much, and thanks to all the participants. Brilliant.
Yeah, no, thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I hope it's been helpful and worthwhile, and you now feel a little bit more knowledgeable about ISO and giving you a bit more food for thought about it all, as well as the absolute key thing. So thanks, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully it's as sunny where you are as it is where I am, and I'm assuming where you are too, Kim. We're not in the same location in Scotland, but we're
Close
both
enough.
in Scotland. We're not too far away. We're not too far away. And the sun is shining, so that's always a bonus. Thanks, guys. I can see your emails coming in there, so that's perfect. I'll just keep this open for a few more minutes, and we'll make sure that we can pick up with you. Tegan, I saw your message there as well. So yeah, if you let us know about who that is, right? So that would be Georgina. That's perfect. We'll make sure we pick up with both of you, and then you can decide if you both want to be in on having a chat with him, or on a Teams or something like that, or if it's more appropriate to go to Georgina. That's not a problem at all. So we'll pick that up. No issues. Okay. Thanks, guys, and thank you for all the thank yous. I'm glad it's been so beneficial and helpful, and that's the aim. That's our aim, to not overload, but at the same time give you enough information that it's useful and it's valuable to you. So glad we've achieved that one for a Thursday. That's always a bonus. Great. You too, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Great. I'm going to bring it to an end now. Thanks, Kim, and thanks everyone for joining us. Take care.
Thanks,
Enjoy your
Flora.
day.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye.